난 예승 먼저 지난 먼저 대화 되어봐다 누가 믿어봐래스 되네 인자다 아니 누가 믿어봐 있나 먼저 송그 누가 녀아디 규가를 했더니 기고라서는 규 디베트 보레스 규 디발했더니 용고라스 지난 규데 디바래제 아니 대화 되어봐서 디비 규데 대화 용고하디 디비 규데 가래라네 아니 디비 규데 개화래스 지난 개위기 레라 때네 아니 대화 중고래 디버 레라 때네 아니 지고 동화 용고래스 지난 디네자 레 균제세디 취미사와래스 그래서 디버지 사세위젤 디바디 아니 지금 마샤바이나 디티고 동화도 야야래스 아니 개와치 사세위젤라 먼저 개와디 아니 지게 콘트라사체 마좀바이나 개와디 제보디 아니 대화 용야바래스 지난 디네게자 취미사와래스 디네자 레 균제리아 지난 디네게 삼다제 먼저 레 균제 개위기 자와 강마모 주야당 디비 자와디파 가지 방투야 방야당 도시고래시는 그승이마 디고 쉬르와당조.
Good evening. So we return now to the text by the third Dalai Lama, The Essence of Refined Gold, and we're continuing to look at the presentation on karma, this being the third talk on karma. We've covered recently the four aspects of karmic law on page 23, and here we were encouraged to that because we've encouraged that in accordance with this wish we have to only experience happiness, in particular lasting, stable happiness, that and to be freed from suffering and difficulties, that we need to identify the causes that lead to suffering, and we need to identify the causes that lead to happiness. And the causes, of course, that lead to suffering are those which are non-virtuous, and the causes that lead to happiness are those of virtue. Having identified this, which is another way of expressing, gaining certainty of this, the first of the karmic, the aspects of karma, then we reflect that it is from these accumulations that we will achieve lasting happiness in rebirth after rebirth, or good rebirths, life after life, progressing to the stable state of lasting happiness. And moreover, we need to ensure that we keep our mind in the direction of virtue, so that as long as we don't generate minds such as anger, which serves to destroy previously accumulated virtue, that virtue that we accumulate will not go to waste, which is the third of the karmic aspects. And so in this way, we looked at these four karmic aspects. We continue then looking at this presentation on causality. Near the top of page 24, to prove that the laws of karma by mere force of logic is an extremely difficult and lengthy process, and only one well-versed in logical reasoning can follow the process. So instead, I will quote a verse from the King of Concentration Sutras. The meaning in this paragraph is that we've come to have confidence already now in karma, that first aspect, and meaning that we have conviction that from non-virtue comes suffering, and from virtue results happiness. But for us to gain profound conviction of this through logic and reasoning, this is a very difficult process.
장주 sembadan 년도에 랑 라자라서 람 냠낸 지게 장주 sembadan 디소 건조기야 미 건조기 냠낸 지체 또 배인데 줄을 끼워 기위어 반상 건조기다 제바체는 또 두고로 와 또 두고래 네, 당 알아주고 어디 제가 알아주고 소수기고 담아봐로 하서 담아봐인자 알아주기 이제 다들 알아주기야 되니기 또 투에게 누가 매반자 알아주기 달리 개회제보다 아니 디비제보 동아시아의 양안줄 파도 전에 알아주 되는 상담을 기니 하고 말체사 생각도 또 말해서 모두 이렇게 네 미니베 시장 알아주고 지금 상담하는 어디지 네 말체가 유연하면서 또 와서 말도 아니 네 말에서 지금 알아주고 말도 상미게 네 말하려고 말다
Den kan gå så til den lamna token. Det er lamna token, det er kolde yankia som ruknang.
장주 선배 람 냠네 제가 다 년도 랑겔 람 냠네 제겐 건축 또 보기를 기어서 건축 또 거로 하지. 개와제바 된 저거 되게 용거 받아. 두면 뒤바치나 저거 동아이고 건축하고 두고. 아주로 소소기 와 타마 버리고 지기 되는 삼단은 삼단 두고 말해지 그래.
When understanding this second verse, then it's important to understand who the intended audience is. To prove the laws of karma by mere force of logic is extremely difficult and lengthy process, and only one well-versed in logical reasoning could follow the process. So what this means is that for ordinary beings such as ourselves, it is extremely difficult to gain certainty only through logic and reasoning that from non-virtuous acts comes suffering and from virtuous acts comes happiness. But this isn't the case though for all. Those who have attained a path, who have cultivated a mental path, those who are either bodhisattvas or have attained a hero path or a solitary realizer path, for them, they can realize, based on logic and reasoning, the process of cause and effect. So just to be clear, when it says here that it's an extremely difficult and lengthy process, this doesn't mean for all beings this is the case. It's specifically referring to us ordinary beings.
Karma, dawa karma jeba nie hung xing. Ridang zhongdu jibi sai xi la. Nambi kamni number shenju jiang queni midin bai qing mi song.
A quote then from the King of Concentration Sutra, and I'll just change one word in the second line. Moon and stars may fall to earth, mountains and cities may crumble, and even the sky may disappear. But you, O Buddha, speak nothing false.
Tadi dinge jinge jebe dona ma tadi dinge jinge ya jebo chi ya sangye ya chik ya dönga ro shugo ro wadi. Dinge jinge jebo sto chi ro wa di do di jebo chi sangye ya shugo ro wa chi sangye gi jebo di sangye ya dönga shugo ro wadi chiti. Sangye rangi sungyo ma me dodi nalo chikti yoro wa su sungwa sin chesa ne dawa dang kama dang chesa gyuwa chuwa ne sangye sung kyo rang sung dil ya zungi ne yungu ma denpa ma to zungi ne yungu ma re se ya shugo ro de shegi ro da.
This being a sutra, then it's the words of the Buddha. But it's the teachings of the Buddha. This particular verse, though, as we can see, is addressed to the Buddha. So despite it being contained within a teaching of the Buddha, it's actually a statement that was addressed to the Buddha. And the person here who's made the statement addressing the Buddha is the king that is referred to in the title of the sutra.
Karma se yang tu stand lor shu chi ngan zu ta ji ye ji ni me ne ro na wa she go ba ta ngan zu ki ye ne ma shi ba du yo ra an ki wa ma ma yo ra ti chi ma yo ta kyu ni mu shu ni go ba ni na da wa ga karma ti ki ni me ji ko ji dang ni yo ru me ta ba za yo ru ko ji sa ni me ji ko da wa ga karma ni ge yo chi je ka ya me ba ji ma shi che me ba cha ge ji ba da wa karma jeba nie long xin si de ta de guang su nie se ki nie ye liao long se ma sa ba zi ba che ga ma sa ba zi de ma de ko me ba cha che ko pa ji che me ba cha che 동바 돼서 매바 동바 잘 책이 되지보다.
Look at the first line, moon and stars may fall to earth. This is referring that from our birth, throughout our life until our death, what appears to us in the night sky appears very permanent. The moon is always there, it appears as if all the stars are always there. However, this, of course, despite having this appearance, is not the case. These are, of course, impermanent phenomena, meaning they change momentarily and therefore they will disintegrate. They will fade away and become destroyed. So here, and that's the meaning of this first line. So, falling to earth, this we should understand in a poetic sense, not something that the moon is literally expected to collide with earth, but rather that despite appearing to be permanent, these are changing momentarily, and therefore they will disintegrate and fade away. Despite abiding for millions of years, even something that does abide for so long, such as the planets and suns and moons, these too change momentarily, therefore they will disintegrate, fade away, and eventually cease completely.
Teneki rimangpo yoba, andoa dan chuda rineba yoba dan, teneki tensa zambling, joa michabi, mi tensa ke sashi zambling dile tena, and nimijik, di ridan, tila ne zambling nebe, semchen soja chazang meba cha, tene rikor, sashi koroyan, and chik zao di meba cha che. Nara zui zambling, be, gyunibu lo tongra maba neba rete, lo manga tongra maba ne, and degalia ridan, semchen, In the
second line, mountains and cities may crumble. Now the attention has come down from the heavens down to our world. And similarly, in our world, both the natural world and the man-made constructions, no matter how great they are, such as powerful mountains or man-made structures that are quite impressive, these too are impermanent and will fade away. This we know quite clearly from man-made constructions, but so too for the natural world. Even the great mountain ranges, these too fade away.
Zada namge kamni number shen gyurkyang sidu tadi kalsoorsun dejinyer shedire kama dan dawa dan zambuli dan andi kala nebe sochati lu tongtra mangbo neje yorite inang an gazam jilya pa ji yongdu zawine meba chasang ji shin dongsang ji tiji yeba dige number gyurchin dongsang ji mad meba charo dongsang number gyur dongsang mad meba charo 그래서 that is 가와 집에 내래 기시거로 가와 집에 가서 차상 지장 동상 차로로 근데 진짜 되게 다와나 깔마다 전불이 다 될래 네베 소차들이 로동라 뭐고 내진도 균균의 열대 이내야 님이 돼서 자와기는 토야매가 찾은 동상진 남거 동상이 남바지마도 생각하면가 차로고 차기도 되게 차로고 그래지래
지금 숨바
저 숨바네.
And even the sky may disappear. So what this then is referring to, now we can take all three, when you look at the third line, we look at all three together. The world itself, as well as the entire universe, are impermanent, they change momentarily, and will eventually disintegrate, fade away, because they are empty. So at the end of this particular eon that we're living in, this particular eon of our world system, this entire universe and all within it will come to an end, being impermanent.
Number gyuri kyang sedowa, chisa denigi gyuwa ina yang sewa da kyang sedi kyuni midin bayi tsing mi sung chido sangye kyugi ta dini ki dawa kama dan ri dan chasang gansam chiglia tongsanga chaje yoba dili namba gyurche mewa chadugo tongsanga chadugo duwas chabayi na kyuni midin bayi tsing mi sung chido sangye kyugi sungye ki tsik dilya sungye chue dilya kidina denpa kyang do jun se de sungya de zao jini mewa res ta di gyuwa zhoya me ta nyama lo mangbo rinla denpa kyang sung ane gansam chiglia jun sungya dina yorba sin di zao jini yoma mindu yoma res sangye la dina yoma res chesa sangye ke kiti sungpa ina sungye chesa denpa ma do jun se de jini yoma res chire
Here, just to emphasize this word, and even. So here, we take this poetry to heart, thinking that everything that's perceived, all these impermanent phenomena, they will pass. There's nothing lasting and stable about them, no matter how they may appear to us. All these impermanent phenomena will pass. But the point being made then is expressed in the fourth line, that no matter no matter that all these phenomena will pass and fade away, that everything the Buddha teaches is true, is never false. This doesn't change. That doesn't change. The Buddha's teachings remain true.
kyuni midin bayi tsing mi sung midin bi tsing mi sung se de jun xing ma le sa ji ko de ne shi le wo a de xian a zu ge ten ju lu xie ba yin na sang ye jum nen de gi ane ji ge den ba zhu ba da ane chi ru dun de zhu ba de ka sa den ba zhu ba ye ye ba da sung go lo ba and de zo yang chi den ba zhu ba sung ba na ji de la den ba zhu ba re be la ne den ba zhu ba ma ro ha ina de su ju ma re kam na me ba du xia lia kam na me ba de dang san bi ge de la pan do yo ba za sung wei zhen jun che go ma re wa ji zan mi den bei chu mi su sai de san yi yang ji mi den ba su sung xia san san yi ge den ba zhu sung do wa shi je den ba zhu sung wa na de na den ba zhu yo ma ro wa de den ba re mi do wa shi bi sam lo khor si ge ro wa ji zan de mi den bei chu mi su sai de jun sung ma re si ko ji zan da denpa zhuba sungpa ina kam nang myo pa da desu le pando yo pa zo khurang zu nungwa la denpa zhuba yue di ro khurang zu la pando yue di kirwa di sungpa ma do di khurang zu le pando me biki mi denpa se di pan mi do biki chue ma re ane zu yun ma re di su
All Buddhists would certainly agree with what is asserted here. Their understanding may differ with this fourth line, though. For example, when Prasangikas read the fourth line, they will know that the Buddha did teach that phenomena exist truly. Whereas the Buddha also taught that no phenomenon at all exists truly. The Prasangika understands that that neither of these statements are false, in the sense that neither of them are a lie. Rather, when the Buddha taught that phenomena do exist truly, he was doing so as an expression of skillful means. In this way, he was able to teach in accordance with the individual personalities, the individual karmic predispositions of beings, so that these practitioners could at least accept this teaching and not abandon all of the Buddha's teachings. And therefore, he taught that phenomena do exist truly. But this is not false, this is not a lie, because if it were, it would be not beneficial. But it is beneficial. And when the Buddha taught that no phenomena exist truly, they're all empty of inerrant existence, from the Prasangika view, of course, this is true. This is a valid statement.
Xie sungpa tar rasa sanji yu sung la xie taba ne yi xin nye bar je ne se or. Xie sungpa tar sanji yu sung la xie taba ne yi xin nye bar je se or.
Now, just below this verse is a sentence, and I'll just rather express the sentence a little differently. Bearing these words in mind, in order to gain wholehearted conviction of Buddha's teachings, you should reflect on the following verse 2.
Dewa Yungre Sada, Diva Chepana Diva, Dunga Yungre Sada, Nanzuki, Hako Tugu Mares, Chisanganzo Totu Mares. Motoba in Tangazo the Karachevore Lana, Anazo Otade, Diva Jana, Dunga Yung Mares, Hamo and Yunguyana Tesumsa, and Diva Chevene, Nanzo Kyonra. Chisanda, then Dikawaji Janet. Deki Yunguyana and Tesum Hamoza, Tesum Savana, that did Gavachina Choyama, the Yunam, Devuyunam and Amo, something, sometime Gaval Bezumajebana, Manso Kyora. Chizanga to give Munijin out the Leg Garjine, Dondadi, how watching a Chakwa Chakwarte. Ina didn't never the lake country according on to the bed, how were the Galakawa chatter. The Inzang Mazuki. 가르치고 람냥아도 개와체다 디비치 제다 개와체 이링아도 담가 제제 당아도 한 먹어나지 타수를 제고로 당아 타수 제고로 지상 타수 제대 가르치고로서는 나 아니 개와체에 될라 타수 제고로스 니 제고의 제고에 대한 다 상지기 송바제 지상 상지기 소야 될 준준의 송마래 삼지 상지기 송야 될 이시제제 상지기 송비 개와제나 대화 용그래 디버지나 dunga yungure se sunwa de sangye sun de yichi che hores yichi che ne azu gewe jawa tu bugure se wada.
So what is then the meaning of what we've looked at thus far here with this in this particular verse? As was said above this verse, so let's re-express that. What is the meaning of what we've looked at thus far in this class? It's difficult for us as very ordinary beings to gain certainty solely through our own wisdom and reasoning as to what is virtuous, what is non-virtuous, what will therefore lead to happiness, and what will therefore lead to suffering. It's very difficult for us very ordinary people to come to realize this based solely on our own reasoning. So therefore, it is skillful for beings ordinary such as us, who are ordinary such as ourselves, that based on many reasons that we already have trust in the Buddha, we should then have conviction and trust in his teachings, knowing that the Buddha was always striving to benefit, and therefore his teachings are truthful and are honest. And when we have, to the extent that we develop this conviction in the validity of the Buddha and his teachings, the truthfulness, the honesty, the beneficial characteristics of the Buddha's teachings, that will give us conviction in what is virtuous and what is non-virtuous, and therefore what will lead to happiness and what will lead to suffering.
주야당 디보포야를 잡아 제고레스 되는 이치체 되는 아직 길이길이 지나는 쪽에 지게 말아주기 냠명이야 똑바로 내야 되니 뭐니 바다고 두고 그러지 이신 예버지에서는 이신 바 이신 이체게 되네 제 이치 쯤 딩니 이치체 오레스.
As it's expressed here, bearing these words in mind. So this is my retranslation of this line. Bearing these words in mind, in order to gain wholehearted conviction of Buddha's teachings, you should reflect on the following verse also. So before we come to the following verse, what is being expressed here is that for us to gain conviction in the law of causality and what should be adopted and what should be abandoned, This, for us, will come about independent on our developing wholehearted conviction in the Buddha himself and his teachings themselves. For that to come about, that comes about independent on our general practice of his teachings. The experience that we gain, the inner transformation that we gain from the Buddha's teachings. And it's as we start to see the validity of the Buddha's teachings in our lived experience that we gain wholehearted conviction in the Buddha and the Buddha's teachings, and thereby have unwavering conviction in the law of causality and what should be adopted and what should be abandoned.
Gewa Dubana, Digi Yungre Sembeta, Digi Kone, Deva Dubo, Casa, Deva Kona, Gewa Dubo, Sembet, Dingi Chiena, Nazuki, and Dibet Paya down, and Gewa Dublia, Besu, Chimbochi to or Besu Chetura. The Ichiro Mena and some Dingi Chimen identity Lagu to Dang and in a mena some that Tata Imaramos and Shashos and Majivasha Yungurua, or the Yungure, Penama Jugi so they say, men design and there's a digress when I was how Marvada, Mazo never answer how many lobs on Majabaza. Jahamoenza, that is an apingi in a mena, some member detest this and a pingy in a mena, some topasana, Tata Sagmare, and Chigene Massage, that she pingy maras and be massage. Chizanju said, maybe she had Ichi dingi ichi jeje and Zagorwa, Jizan Sabana Mazuli Pemba di Yungurwa, Dineza, Ichi Jewo, Ichi Machebaina, and then gave it Java Yagadi Tata Chitu Mare, and then Ichi same dingi Ichi Jebaina, then the Bana Jalia, and then Beju Chimbuko the Chitu Regile.
This is an important point that we need to have heartfelt or wholehearted conviction in the Buddha and the Buddha Dharma. This is really greatly important, especially in this context, because if one has wholehearted conviction in the validity of the Buddha Dharma, then one takes to heart the teachings one receives, seeing them as personal to one's own situation and need to be applied with great vigor, with great diligence. And thereby, in our context here of karma, we will readily and with ease turn away from non-virtue and engage in virtue. And we will do so not just with what's important, but turn away from even small non-virtues and readily engage in small virtues too. We will do so readily with diligence. If we don't, though, on the other hand, have heartfelt conviction in the Buddha and the Buddha Dharma, then we'll have some doubt in our mind, and we'll hear the teachings, and we'll say, oh, this may well be true, probably is true, and it will be left there in this grey area, in the murkiness of some darkness. And then we will probably not be very vigilant with our awareness, so aware of our behavior, and when we, in a situation where we have confronted with the choice of, do I do this, or do I refrain from it? To the extent that we have doubt, we may well make the wrong choice there. So hence, it's really important to develop this wholehearted conviction. An illustration that's easy to understand, if we're ill and we receive advice from a qualified medical practitioner, and we have no knowledge or experience about this particular illness, if we have doubts in the advice we are given, we probably won't follow the advice, or if we do, not so well. Then no benefit will come from the advice that's given. So here, heartfelt trust needs to be cultivated. If it's not, to the extent that sincere trust is lacking, the benefit that the Buddha Dharma can have on us, the transformative benefit, will be limited.
Dini zada sanji ge sonya gi tele yichi che ne nga zo nyamlen che ho de kan chi ho re la na da den ma junju le se junju ge skre do mi ge wa le dungal jung de le chi tar nge sa re she 인생 군도 다게니 디니 바시 삼베 송도
네. Something here. Dini Junjuk Nede.
Junjuk.
Now, continuing in our text, there's a quotation here. It doesn't say in the text, but it's a quotation from the Bodhisattva's way of life. From non-virtue comes suffering. Therefore, day and night, you should think and rethink how to escape from suffering forever. Or to express the last line differently, how to definitely gain liberation from suffering forever.
다디네 자가르 삼당고레스네 사이기 개와 제발한테 디기 용으로 동아 디바 제발한테 동아 용으로 사송하디 난신진한 야 데라 사이 송하디 이치체 안심딩네 이치체 디네 인자다 나서기 미개와 제발나 류가 예수님 요건에 미개와 제발나 디 테고 겨안 체텔레나 동아야다 아니 겨와 체마 안가 소라 계시 동아 바도 메바 용으로 차그리에서제 미개와레 동아 중세어 디스고레 어두스네 대소 삼당고레제 대제자 체텔레 류가 예수님 권에 아니 미개와 제바이나 다디 제보들라 아니 겨와 체마가 소라 계토레 나소라 계네 데 동아 바도 메바 용고 차그리에서 지나 동아디네 용그리에서 두스네 삼당고레제레
Was said part of what was said in connection to the previous verse was that in order to gain heartfelt conviction in the Buddha and the Buddha's teachings, this for us as beginners comes about independent on the cultivation of experience, of inner transformative experience. This is how we develop heartfelt conviction. Sorry, not whether we're beginners or not, for all practitioners. Now, how then to practice? And that is what this verse from the Bodhisattva's way of life is about. Here, looking at the first line, from non-virtue comes suffering. This is a crucial line. That the Buddha has presented what is non-virtuous. And he has also presented that these are the causes that will lead to suffering. Suffering both in this life, but in particular in our future lives, and in our future lives both in terms of the realm that our rebirth is propelled to, that the non-virtuous karma ripens as a propelling karma, it leads to rebirth in the lower realms. And moreover, the suffering experiences in our future lives, wherever we are born, all those suffering experiences comes from non-virtue. Therefore, this first line is of great importance. From non-virtue comes suffering.
지사다 미개와레 동아 개와 치마 가손라 개 가손 때라 동아 바도 매 용고 중그리에서리 산지기 미개와친데 용그리 송바나지 때라 이시체지도 이시체체 한 미개와레 중그리에서 셈딩네 이시체야 직체 다디 이시체네 안델라 난디젤라 가르삼동아서 델레 지다른 예타르셰스 지사 다디 네게 콜베 동아 가사 개와 가손의 동아 데네게 동아 용오이네 동아 될때 가는 타고 되는 마타는 탑도 선비기 두시는 삼당고래제 세상 거기 가서는 동아한테 되니기 동아 다 직녀마디기 미기위 제발할 때는 되니기 가서나기 가서 이때 동아 되니기 용고요 봐 있는다 아제다 대 동아한테 마타는 탑민도 될 가는 타고 되는 타고도 삼제 될레지다는 예탈시 가는 타고 그래 될 마타는 탑민도 선비 삼당고래제 디삼도 공고래서 올다 donala.
The first line then, having now, to whatever extent we have conviction and trust in the Buddha and the Buddha's teachings, we reflect that on this first line, from non-virtue comes suffering. Then, in dependence on that, naturally we'll move to what is the second line in Tibetan and our fourth line in English. And I'll use my own translation here. How to definitely gain liberation from suffering forever. So this is the second key point that we reflect on. The first is, from non-virtue comes suffering. And secondly, how to definitely gain liberation from suffering forever. Because when we're thinking about that, from non-virtue comes suffering, we'll gain ever stronger conviction that because of the non-virtue I have engaged in, I have a huge store of karmic seeds that if they ripen, will only ripen in suffering, including in the tremendous torments of the lower realms. And as we gain a transformative understanding of this, naturally we'll think about what comes up in the fourth line. How can we definitely gain liberation from suffering forever, or freedom from suffering forever? So this then, too, we need to come about with a great strength of mind, leading to that strength of mind, which we can relate to this expression of, I must gain freedom. The situation I find myself in is precarious. I'm in the gravest of dangers. I must gain freedom from this situation.
On the samche, this some tadus Congo regere, Cesada Migawa Chipe, Dunga Sonaki, Dunga Yungo, Cesa Denig, Dunga de la Canis Tower, then the Matan, the Tabidu, Sampeke, Dele Tarudu, Sampe, Samlodi, and Samlodis, Tane, Nivi Sumbadele, Ninsem Gundo, Dagini, Dini Bashi Samberix, Signidi, Ninsem Gundo, Dagini, Dini Bashi Samberix, the Dini said the genial said. Nga dunga mikiwa le nga so la ke nga so dunga pa to me ba nyong yo ba dunga samta de kan sta kore sa be samodi de ne mata na tab midu sa be samodi ni na chen mudu ne ane dini ba ji ti ji bu gong gu le so ya ne ya do mudu ne gong gu le so.
So these first two lines in the Tibetan, from virtue comes suffering and how to definitely gain liberation from suffering forever, these are crucial lines to meditate on, and to the extent of our conviction, our trust in the Buddha and the Buddha Dharma, we will gain a profound transformation within us. And we need to do this, as we see now in the remaining two lines. Therefore, day and night, you should think and rethink, or to express it in the way that I usually express this. We need to engage in this meditation repeatedly over a sustained period, reflecting that from non-virtue comes suffering, and that we must definitely gain liberation from suffering forever.
They dunga de la matan the tabidu, Sampiki, the Tagudu, Sampe, some of the Yana, the Nina, Mutuche, Yang, do, Chin Gombaina, and the Garlic Resena, that dele Tagudu, Sampe, some of the Shuchebo later, de Tayagi, Tablam di Zegirwada, that Tablam Zeche, Tablam di Tayagi, Tablam di Yamnajirwa, Cheomaza, Tablam de Garel, and the Discord, and Nibadilla, Denma. The idea Juju Syria. Gevi Sonam Tamjegi, Zawa Meber to be songs. Gevi Sonam Tamjegi, Zawa Meber to be songs. De Yang Zawa Tatoni, Nemin Jebu Gomba was.
This, as what's expressed in this line, we need to meditate on this repeatedly over a sustained period. This must be done, as it says here, night and day, coming to the realization, the conviction that nothing is as important as gaining liberation from suffering. This realization that as long as we remain ordinary samsaric beings, every moment we are in danger of falling to the lower realms. Therefore, there's nothing more important than gaining freedom from this situation. And this then leads to the next verse, which is also from the Bodhisattva's way of life. The roots of all goodness lie in the soil of appreciation for goodness. Constantly meditate upon how to ripen the fruits that can grow therefrom. So here, the method of meditation, the method of practice continues.
Masung Dunga Targu, Sambe, Samlo de Matan Tabanu, Sambe, Sambo Comio, Della Tayaga Tab de Carriera, Gyao de Ries, Gyava, 개위 초나 탐정이 개화주게레스 류가 유스미고니 안 추름 소야다 안 진변냠는 제가 류가 유스미 예죄도 추름 소야다 안 개화주게레스 개화데레스 세상 개화치만 아송에 타 아송은 동안에 타나 아니 아주 개화주고 그래스 이 탑람데 개화데레스 개화주게레스 그래 개위 촉스 그래
Well, this verse, let's read again this verse from the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. The roots of all goodness lie in the soil of appreciation for goodness. Constantly meditate upon how to ripen the fruits that can grow therefrom. This then points to the practice that we need to engage in, which in brief is the accumulation of virtue. And this can be expressed in many ways. The most abbreviated is engaging in the ethical restraint, the practice of guarding our mind ethically, restraining our ethical way, our mind in accordance with ethics, and thereby ensuring our body, our physical behavior, and our verbal communication are all ethical. This and other forms of virtue are what we need to engage in. This is the method of practice. This is what we need to be developing within us, cultivating within us. What we saw before, from non-virtue comes suffering, that's what's to abandon. Here we see that the root of all goodness lies in the soil of appreciation for goodness. This is pointing to ethical restraint.
이자 다 개화주비야 인자 안내가서 개화주비야 가르려야 돼. 령아 예수님 예주도 주름 써야 되러와. 령아 예수님 예주도 주름 수반에 개화치만 가서는 기거 말와. 소리 타루고와 제가 령아에서 예주도 주름 써야 되래. 다 안에 진배 냠는 제야래. 제가 주름 쓰냐 아 저기 진배 냠는 제바이나 아니 아 저기 롱주기 강하게 마태비 강하디 아니 세교로와 제가 디네자 아니 롱 진배 냠는 제야래. 근데随便냐 원바 창와다 내나서 유아책이随便 냠나자 아니 준주의 냠나자 어디서 몰람 아니 그시 미셰바나시 아니 마오바나 아니 개와치마 아니 대상과 대주밀을 좀 토바쇼세하나 아니 라마 죄딩한 개외신이 생긴다 대바지 체버쇼스 안 죄냠는 제가 고갑야부지 토바쇼스 비기 몰람자야 돼야지 지난 디수제디 저기 아니 저로 디수래데 디멤비다 될야 최고부야다 개위를 자만 루야로 와다 개와 다만 저 자주 샘고야 니저 저거 밑에네 연구라 이나 데네기다 개와 치마 가송을 타야지 타네 덴주류든 토야 되르바 지난 덴주류든 토야지 진배냠는 수준이 수변이 존재냠는 아니 될야 아니 몰람 dim마메바 몰람 따바지 고고래 어디서 냠는 제래 지고 개위 총사 냠는 제 어디 차고래
The root of all goodness lies in the soil of appreciation for goodness. This then points to the crucial practice that one has to engage in wanting for liberation from suffering, and that is ethical restraint. The ethical restraint of body, speech, and mind. Because this is the primary cause that leads to liberation from rebirth in the lower realms. And this practice will lead when this practice accumulates the causes that when they're ripened will definitely lead to rebirth in a good realm and a happy migration of a human or God. In this way, one attains at least a temporary liberation from rebirth in the suffering lower realms. And moreover, because as we can see in this verse, it doesn't explicitly state ethical restraint, but refers to it, it implies it through referring to the soil of appreciation for goodness, being the soil from which all good qualities grow, being ethical restraint. But we need to also accumulate further good causes that will lead to a good rebirth, and these will be generosity. Generosity leads to ensure that in future rebirths we have an abundance of resources and we aren't without good, favorable conditions. And then thirdly, so ethical restraint, generosity. Thirdly, patience, which ensures we have good health, sound sense faculties, and harmonious relations with others. Fourthly, joyous perseverance, the delight in virtue, the natural inclination towards virtue, the natural disinclination towards non-virtue. So those are the four practices, rounded off with stainless prayers for a variety of things, but in particular, to continue to meet our spiritual teachers, come under their care, and with great enthusiasm request and receive teachings, and similarly with great enthusiasm apply ourselves wholeheartedly to cultivating those teachings within ourselves throughout our lives, developing ourselves ever further spiritually for the benefit of others.
다 되네게 개비 초티에 개화디 야고 냠렌제 야고 주바라양 아니 가르고스네 자와 매바 투베송스 지상 개화리아 dimba 개화 줍두기 dim바다 매바스 슈고레스 지상 자와 매바메나 제게 돈이기 dim바다 dim바 매바나 아니 개화 주고 말레스 지상 지네자 개비게 초 주야라 델레 돈이기 dim바 고고레스 지상 되네게 개화 차상게 개화 가리네 개화디게 자와디 디 제게 듬바 돈이기 듬바 매발에 라리고 제가 매바 싸와레스 제가 델리아 베 매바 침부치지 대 개워 줍디기 돈이기 듬바 매바 슈치부지 고고레스 디 임바 고고요 바디 네 도바상 유춤nen디 손바레야체 자와 매바로 투비에 숨스.
This term here linked with soil is appreciation. So appreciation here is given great importance in the way that Shantideva composed this couplet. This term appreciation is linked to soil, the foundation. And this is crucial because so appreciation can be expressed also as aspiration. To the extent that one has aspiration or appreciation for virtue, one will readily, wholeheartedly engage in the cultivation of virtue, develop virtuous minds within ourselves. To the extent that one lacks an appreciation for virtue, that one is disinclined, that lacks aspiration for virtue, to that extent, one will not be so bothered. One will to engage in virtue. One will be quite distracted from one's weak endeavors to engage in virtue. In fact, one will be quite disinclined to engage in virtue. So therefore, an appreciation or an aspiration for virtue is greatly important.
That 가르치고선 that 올이야 대양 대양 자와 다도네 내민제고 공부하고서도 대양서 대지 가르치고선 디세오리야 아주기 대신에라 미겨와래 아니 디파 중국에 제가 미가와 제발한테 나송라기네 아니 나송의 동아 빠도 매번 용걸 자기한테 텔레 타고도 쓰면 나송라 타고도 선배 타도게 삼바치다 당 나송에 타네 타야라야 아니 가르고선 게주 주고래 제가 되네 진짜 게주 주비를 덤바 두니르기 매바 덤바 슈치고 요아니디 가르라라레고 왔으네 디니게 자와데 가르라나 대양 자와 다도니 내면지고 공부하고서도 디기 개위기 가서 미가와 제반에 제부 동아되네 용고래 해야다 고미 삼다야다 개와 제반에 디제부 되네 용고래서 베게 개디니기 균제 삼당 거래서 제가 균제 삼다도 공부이나 제가 되네 공부이나 되네 동아들에 탈되게 나서 동아를 탈되게 삼바디 슉첨부용 투야다 아니 디 녀보 개와 주야다 아니 개와 주에 돈이 된바 니보디 슉첨을 투고래 해서 그래.
Looking at the progression in these verses, we see that as we reflect on this, we're gaining ever greater certainty that from non-virtue, suffering comes. In particular, the sufferings of the lower realms, that unbearable suffering, this awaits us as long as we have non-virtue on our continuum. And this is to the extent that we engage in non-virtue, the causes that will lead to such an outcome grow within us. We have to, and the more we reflect on this as well as the sufferings of the lower realms, the determination to be liberated from that possibility grows within us, leading to, as we see in the first couplet here, an aspiration for goodness, because we understand that it's through developing virtue, goodness, that we're creating the causes that will lead to good rebirths, and thereby we gain at least temporary reprieve from the possibility of rebirth in the lower realms. So the outcome of these reflections is that the aspiration to accumulate virtue, the aspiration to turn away from non-virtue grows within us. And here, this comes about through reflecting on this topic, cause and effect. It comes about through reflecting then ever more so on what should be adopted, virtue, and what should be abandoned, non-virtue. And this then, in terms of what should be adopted, is what's expressed in the third and fourth line. Constantly meditate upon how to ripen the fruits that can grow therefrom, the fruits that will grow from goodness, the results of virtue.
Diva Chevaina, Lunga Yusum Yogana, Diva Chevaina, that Judy Diva Rota, Lunga Yusum Yeju, Diva Chevaina, or the Yavachima, Dite, Woodland Hasola Kigri, Sangasola Kevaina, and doing about Meva Yongo Chagri, Sambigi, the names are that, and Divadi, Divi Tribu, Mason Kia, that did Tribu Dunga de Resha, Sambidu, Samta, the names are that Dungadi. 타고 도지네자 디버세 자오기니 지기민도 삼체 삼다야와 디삼다야다 윤제 곰세 디로와 네민제고 곰세야데 어디나신다 다 류가 예수님이 예주 돈비기 추림 송야다 송바이나 지난 추림 송야이나 디 제부데라 아니 그서 나송래 타르제 디 제부 가와기오선 된제 밀리 타다미고 토구도 지상은 저게 개와 지마라서 봤다와이나 디 제부데라 아니 가서 롱조야다 튕긴이 까마메바 서버 공부한다 원바 청와다 서버야다 디네자 지상 아주 개와 주부에는 디기 아니 디엘 가와기오선 된줄이야 아니 저기 디기 녀야당 아니 디 된절이야 아주 취임내 제고 빼 마와야 야보다 랑내 디기 녀야 셴래야 판도 주퇴 빼야 버려서 지상 개와 주부 개와를 때는 대용구도 쓴 되니게 균제 상다 지난데 룽아 예수님이 예주 돈비게 당아서 개와 같이 망아 주도네 나손래 탈고도 나손래 기기민도 지상 나손래 탈고도 나손래 동알레 레 용고 지기민도 선배기 두 전에 안에 야도 상당 거래 되네 상당여도 아니 오다 개와디 제후도 개와 맞인데 탑민도 선배기 개와 주부도 선배 개와 눈들이게 돈열기 숙치 몰리게 됐어 지난데 되네 망보 삼 동아기 나 가서 디베 상다 디베 디베 동아선 오다디 동아들라 타고 디버스 싸워지 지기민도 와서 동아들라 탑마탄데 탑민도 지난 디타야라 개와 주고도 선배 돈열기 디버슈치말리 두고레스 지난 되네 연자 윤제기 공부해야지 안 디베 제 디바다 디베 듀티바다 디제부 동아 공야 삼다야 다 곰곰세도 먼저 삼당 보래서 삼로당하지 삼로디 디니게 삼다에 삼로디 뉴베치 무죠 그래서 그러와 지난 개와 사바이나 디제부 안 디기 가서 된절게 하다 디제부 디기요야 아니 계슈주비 토야 되네도 삼비게 되니게 삼로디 양내야도 김세 삼 양내야도 삼다제 삼단 삼로디 곰리체오래 제가 곰리체바이나 아니 잡atti 부차하다 두시네 안고 기디네 삼로디 되는 숙침을 해야도 기디네 계주 제약이 계위초 제약이 동여대 삼보 숙체체래 아니 미기위 제약이 초디 파 삼로디 숙충수래도 되는 가지고 자와 고수미 자와 가르체베네 계위 자와의 숙체네 두고래서 제가 네 공부해야 돼 예체무시고래서 그래
What I'm hoping then is quite apparent now as we've looked at these three verses, is that if we engage in the way of thinking that is expressed here and meditating on the ways that have been expressed here, then we will have certainty that from non-virtuous ways of thinking, non-virtuous ways of communicating and expressing ourselves verbally, non-virtuous physical behavior, all of these leads to causes, the accumulation of causes that when they ripen as a propelling karma can only lead to rebirth and the unbearable sufferings of the lower realms. Moreover, when these imprints ripen during a lifetime, they will only ripen as further unwanted suffering experiences. To the extent that they have reflected on this, to that extent will come about the determination, I don't want to suffer anymore. I don't want to suffer anymore, and I certainly don't want to suffer in a worse way than already is the case. I want to be free, not just from the suffering that I've experienced, but from the possibility of falling to the lower realms. I want to be free of this. In fact, I want to be free from suffering in its entirety. Therefore, I will guard my mind, and I'll make sure I don't allow it to go in a non-virtuous direction, and therefore, I will not physically or verbally act in a non-virtuous way. And here, that is the link to not only committing to not engage in non-virtue, but through committing to guard one's mind and ensuring it's not going in a non-virtuous direction, we've opened the door to ethical restraint. We're regarding our mind, and thereby ensuring it is virtuous, ensuring our mind is ethical. We're restraining our mind, we're restraining our speech from being non-virtuous, and therefore it is ethical. We're restraining our physical behavior from being non-virtuous, and therefore it's ethical. And here, not only have we closed the door to the accumulation of further causes that will lead to lower realm rebirth, but we have opened the door to the accumulation of causes that will ripen in a rebirth as a human or a god. And then through these reflections, we know that for our lives to have great meaning, we need more than to be born as a human. We also need to have an abundance of material resources, so that we have time to spiritually develop, and we have capacity to benefit others, and therefore we commit to developing the mind of generosity, the wish to give and benefit. We commit to acting in accordance with both ethical restraint and generosity, and thereby being patient, having a mind that's undisturbed in the face of adversity, knowing that this is how we create the causes to have harmonious relationships with others, and to have complete sense faculties too. And these practices with joyous perseverance and prayer, we combine them. These will all lead to ensure that we achieve good rebirths, have all the required conditions to live a life of meaning, a life where we're spiritually developing and we're being of ever greater benefit to others. So going through these reflections, we'll see that there's nothing more important than turning away completely, abandoning non-virtuous ways of thinking, and combining this with the embracing of virtuous ways of thinking, these two together. So we need to meditate on this, reflect on this, contemplate this repeatedly over a sustained period, because the meaning of meditation is habituation. The more we think about this, in particular in dependence on reasoning, not just the mere repetition of a formula, but using reason, so we're going ever more deeply why we should to engage in this, why we should avoid that. What are the benefits? What are the faults? What are the subtler expressions of these, etc.? Using reasons, we gain ever deeper habituation, which means we're becoming ever more habituated to being naturally virtuous, naturally kind-hearted, naturally loving. We're becoming ever less habituated to the opposite way of thinking, being ever less habituated to being self-centered, to being miserly, and so forth. This is how we develop transformative and lasting change. And when the change comes to our way of thinking, it means the way we relate to the problems and difficulties in our lives, the way we communicate to others and interact with others, are all transformed.
Tikbiki le cheba na digi tebu ta digba sayadi manzo semja so cheba ta majimba lo sopa migi lu ma yusum yokane migi cheba na di tebu delia ngaso na ki gores and ngaso na cheba na and dunga yung gores chisa dunga ta nga jogi semje dunro nya la sopa da denige dunga thonshin ba na shin dunga ba to me ba nyong so thonga deni ma thonga la deni ba to me ba ya da nyawa ida dunro sa nyawa ida dunro dinga 통고 맞아 대술 dunrogi dunga dele da gyacha chedan gyacha kupchugi da konzo dunga che yores chede dineza pe mase resha dunga digipe dujar dite dunga dele tagu gores chizanda dunga tagu wanza dipase de zawo ni jigimindo sembege 디비 디보라 동어 여바데 삼다 디네 인사다 삼당네 나가선 디바서 자와네 지기미도 삼제 디바데 빵고도 삼제 삼당 고미야 직지 삼다야 직지 다는 디바 빵네 가르쳐 왔으네 다 개화 두고래 개화 두바이나 기비 룽아 이수미고네 개화 두바이나 디큐레 디기 제부 가려서 개화치마 덴돌레 기그레 덴돌레 개바이나 안 덴드기 사다 미기 디기 녀아 용고레 안 덴델야 안 개베 자와 주야다 안 덴레 안 야야 타야 그 고합이와 덴에서 개화세디 제바이나 디 제부 대화마도 동아야 민도 세상 개화 주도 선배기 다 개화 마루나 타면도 선배 되냐 두르시네 제산 디바 제바이나 디디레 규티바 디데부 동아 용도 삼다네 동아 디바서 자위네 지금에 선배게 삼다야 지다 다 개와 제반에 개와 된주기게 디디기 용고를 디텐들라네 개회 자와 샤향 주비하다 판도 니바침부치 투도 제산 개와서도 주부도 제산다 개와서 마든 타민도 선배 내내기 삼당 공부들라 먼저도 스네 금세 삼당 내내게 삼당다 동아 디바 빵고도 선배 삼도 될야 삼 숙치 못하야다 되네 아니 개회기 제보 삼다 개화도 주부도 선배 돈이게 삼바 게 되네 디 될라랑 강도 지기 선배 삼는날도 전 삼다 고미야 될다 레균제 삼다 와서 레균을 공부하세지 되네 질러고 디 공부 삼다야 될 레균을 공부하세지 디시거라
This is our third week where we're looking at cause and effect. Let's now bring together what we've been looking at and into a meditation on how to reflect on, or how to meditate on karma, how to meditate on cause and effect. So as with all meditation, we utilize our intelligence, our reasoning. We do this, and it's very easy to do this in the topic of karma, the topic of cause and effect. We take an illustration of a non-virtuous deed, such as killing, recognizing that this brings harm. Clearly it's non-virtuous. Being a non-virtuous deed, as we saw in the first aspect of the four of karmic law, it can only lead to one result: suffering. And if this negative seed ripens as a propelling karma, it can only lead to rebirth in the lower realms. And in the lower realms, one experiences unbearable suffering. Here, one reflects like this, not wanting to be born in the lower realms, not wanting to have conditions incomparably worse than we have now, reminding ourselves that these aren't existences that are merely theoretical, they are being suffering there right now. These realms are populated by countless more beings than live in the human realm. We know this from our experience in the animal realm, and ever more so in the unseen realms too. So we reflect here, combining the previous meditations on the sufferings of the lower realms here with the reflection on cause and effect, reflecting that suffering that others beings are experiencing right now potentially awaits me because of my accumulation of non-virtue. And thinking like this, reflecting, here we're using analysis, it's all thinking meditation, using reasons. If I engage in this, that will come about. Naturally the wish arises, I must be freed from such a possibility. I must be freed from such a possibility. And therefore, I will never, ever again, in the accumulation of these causes, I take responsibility for my way of thinking and its resulting speech and physical behavior. And as this arises within us strongly, in the same meditation, we'll naturally swing to the other side of the other part of this meditation, which is in conjunction with my commitment to refrain from any kind of non-virtue, whether it's my way of thinking, my way of verbally communicating, or my physical action. I'll make sure that those three doors are on the side of virtue. This goes together. We close off non-virtue, we open up to virtue. And thereby not only am I closing the door to the accumulation of the causes for suffering, but I'm opening the pathways to good rebirths. So there's a natural sequence that one cultivates. We move from the one to the other. We commit to not bringing harm, and that is accompanied by the commitment. I will benefit others. I will help others. Because it's in this way that not only am I easing their suffering, but I'm creating the causes whose results I require in my future lives. I require them so that I can spiritually progress ever faster and ever further. And so this meditation on the negative karma that needs to be abandoned and the virtuous karma that needs to be accumulated, this is done sequentially. It's done through relying on reasonings, not just through a mere repetition of a formula. And we do it in a way that generates emotion. It needs to be personal, because that is what leads to aspiration to change, to transform ourselves. When we think about how it would be if we were experiencing the suffering of the lower realms right now, this leads us to turn away from such behavior that leads to such causes, rather. Likewise, when you reflect on if our loved ones were there, or the strangers, if we knew that they were about to be born there, how we would relate to them differently. So this is how to skillfully meditate on topics. Use reasoning, make it very personal, so that emotion arises within us. And this is how we lead to an aspiration to change, a determination to transform ourselves. And that is required so that we can with a determination is required so that between meditation sessions, we continue to watch our mind and ensure our way of thinking is always restrained and virtuous. So this is how to meditate on karma.
Lam Rim Gomguyes, Lam Rim Gomia de Kone Chazan Badu, Sarchil Gomsia Marwa, Rimba Beneki, Shin, Ditsu Gomia, and then my Yamdra Samtaya, and then my leg in the Samta, the Ligorva, Chesada, my leg in the Gomguye city, Gomguye Ladu, that is on this sometime, the leg in the Lamrim Nada, Lamrim Gomguya, Lamrim leg in the Gomguya Sadina, that it in the sometime, that leg in the Compass Tisha.
This text here, as we looked at a lot in the last year, is part of the Lam Rim tradition. And the Tibetan word Lam Rim, or in its full form, Janchupki Lam Rim, this means the graduated stages to enlightenment. So Lam Rim is literally the graduated stages. It's a progression, a sequence. So the idea is, this is a meditation manual. Our text here, all the Lam Rim texts are meditation manual. It's a sequence. You meditate on this, and then on that, and then on that. So previously we meditated on the preciousness of our human rebirth, the kindness of our teacher, and so forth. Now we're on cause and effect, and that's how you meditate on cause and effect. So there's this sequence. But as one sees, the sequence isn't in isolation. It remains influenced by what one has meditated on in the previous steps, as well as influenced by the steps that are still to come.
Dewa Shukshimali Yobadi, Danga to Samtana, Dadi Chalanga, Corona say, Nazedi, Ligobadi, Caprashu, the Nazedi, Lilo Pobaina, and Devo Karimures and the Supul and Nazashu, Nazashu, the Kangashu, Yores, and the Kangayo Amase, and Digi Mangushi Rugore said, Capra Shu, Dangora, the Nazedi Levaina, Digi Tebu, Tunga Patum of Yungure, Tunga Yomba Maze. She again, Mambo Shigora, she Mambo Shigora, the Nigi Mambo Tong, the Digi Gutella Tene, Jewutin Sungores, and Mamoji, Caprace, Seche, Chesa, the Nigga, some that Delia, Tablam Carriores, Delia, Duma, the Maya, the Duma, the Guguma, Duma, de la Targore, Mansuke, Nazi Duma, Targore, and then she will Duma de la Targochina, Mansu Targore, Tella Tablam Carriores, and dim Tahaki, men when it is to men, I never bring Goyalia, and the chick, Kari Tiguatan, Pasu Madua, the best subscription, Cambenalo Diocores, the Shunrangi, and Chasan Dusene, Tablam Jene, Dice, Chasalia, Daniel Chiuchida, Dini Ungores, Dibudi, Dini Ungores, how go to, and Chasan, Dini Sam Gene, and the Karchiwasene, Chasanga subscription, the Mayagi. Tablam de Karchiwasene, the Mason, Gawana to be the Karchiwasan, Karatia, Lakotuya, and Chipazumadu, the subscription, D. Nazi, one Goyag, Mayag, Tablam Chagova, the Bezu, that's you Jigor, what on Chasanga subscription Jigor, what on it. Karasan Joe, the Garson, the Nazi Zubules over the issue Nagris, the Jebu Nagris. Now, Mother Shigris at little. Chisan Dele Ishi, this say which how go answer, they go how go answer, Tablam Telepes, Shuchimuchi, Ligorva. That Denigi, some Matan and the Denigi, Duma, Yungura, Shigris, some Shira Matan and the Pazo Chamada, Damara Chad, Yonsigua, Yungurva, or just that Denigi, some Tavain, Degi, Tablam Telia, Belalan Dial, busy chimbu and the Lalan Tatu Gorva. Dating on to Pena, Pidina, to give each out to Tadia. Deep Dunga table some tire, don't give you table some tire, to send Tablam Jadi, then you get some Tavaina, then it busy chimbukone, Tablam Telight, and the J2 your body, Bedina Jiba Chato.
This meditation on cause and effect, you're being encouraged to utilize your reasoning to think about, so why am I being encouraged to avoid certain deeds and engage in others? That why is this non-virtuous? Why is that virtuous? What results come from this? Or what results come from that? What results do I want to experience and don't want to experience? All this reasoning is required. And this is throughout the Buddha Dharma is what the approach we need to take. And it's not something that's unique to the Buddha Dharma. This is how we live our lives. We use our reasoning, always deciding, so what are my options? What are the results of those options? Which is the better path to follow? So right now, I'm looking before me, I see a video camera and an empty room. There's no one here. And why is that? There's a pandemic in our world, of course. And because of this pandemic, our government, based on scientific advice, has given advice to the Australian people and said, do not gather in groups. Do not go to religious institutions. Don't gather in groups anywhere. Stay at home as much as you can. Wash your hands. Stay 1.5 meters away from everybody. And when you go out, be very careful to keep your social distancing and don't touch others. Touch as little as possible as you can, especially your face when you're out. So this is the advice that has been given. So whether you are following that advice or not depends on, one, whether you've heard it, whether you've heard it sufficiently well, and whether you've reflected on it, and through hearing and reflecting on it, whether conviction has arisen within you. If any of those steps are missing, then one's behavior will be quite unchanged. One will be ignoring social distancing, going wherever you want, perhaps trying to avoid the police. That will be the case. But if one has heard the advice and heard it with clarity, so one understands it, heard it enough so you understand it well, and you reflect on it, so that you have conviction, trust, belief in it, then your behavior has changed. So the reason our behavior has changed is we've gone through that process. And why have we gone through that process? There's a particular result we want and a result we do not want. We all have fear of catching a disease for which there is no effective treatment, and therefore if we become severely ill, it's difficult to avert death. We don't want to be in that situation, therefore, not wanting the result, we listen to the advice. We come to an understanding of it, but more than just an intellectual understanding of it. we use reasoning to analyze, does this make sense? Hence it's explained to us in a particular way. We're not just told, do this, don't do that. Reasons are given. And we have the knowledge then to think about those reasons and can transform our behavior. So we see this now throughout society, and that's exactly the approach we take in the Buddha Dharma. In this topic on cause and effect, and all the topics. Gather information, gather a lot of information, reflect on it, reflect deeply on it, and then transformation comes. Okay. Die Dantabadu dialog med, den kan Danta di dikpachuk det sigpengbe?
Men låter den ma shesungba der jir migawa tada bangse kebaru gosum gi migawa ju chejin chunguru jebe nemin idu nemin ngason de yawa dang gyudin dang daje so idu mongwe jinsula sam.
Okay. Ja, ini masse kuma magyap di lokmebe. Ini di tongi mendo ha?
Masse kuma magya sangado. Eji nemi diwu kom se la saison. Ta diwu na ma shesung ba tar sdwa.
Okay. Det så kunde jag säga böcker doktor lokme. Den är det inji dislogien. Now moving on, near the bottom of page 24. As explained here, abandon all negative activity in general and contemplate the 4 unpleasant aspects of the 10 non-virtues of body, speech and mind.
Chisa deji dona deji shedere jiri migawa tada bang se jida migawa se de chering chenpo ina chungshue ne migawa gandashi ne bang gu re se kasi se migawi jebo de la an dunga nyo ha re chisa dunga mo wa za jiri migawa tada bang se migawa chechung gandashi ne bang gu re ji re.
Here we've been encouraged to reflect on what we've covered now in the last few weeks, the 4 aspects of karmic law and what's presented here in these verses. And we need to reflect on it to come to this determination that all non-virtue needs to be abandoned, whether great or small.
Chebardu kosum ye migawa ju chering chunguru jepe nemi idu onwa jise dagar sorsene ngara jugi chebardu sede ta diba mangbo yerde ine da ngara chublo so de kosum diba lunga yusum yokone diba mangbo sa gores chisa lunga yusum yokone diba migawa ju de bangko re jere chebardu kosum ye migawa ju 미거 주들라 아니 중모다 딩당 아니 첨보다 안딘데 용고래 디수 파방고 그래스.
And in terms of abandoning non-virtue, these need to be abandoned in terms of our physical behavior. We should ensure we do not physically bring harm to others. We also need to ensure that through our way of speaking, our verbal communication, we do not bring harm. And this comes down primarily to a way of thinking, ensuring that even our way of thinking is not non-virtuous. So these 3 doors need to be guarded. We need to ensure that we don't engage in any non-virtuous acts through our 3 doors. And these are expressed through a summary of 10 non-virtues. And this is a general summary, but we need to take our thinking to the subtler levels that would be included here, although not expressly stated.
대지 donda 대지 샤바다 지바레 그래서나 류가 유스미 미가와 주 첨보 슈 첨보 제바에네 디 제보들라 냐와기 거레스 지산 제보 미기위 제보 첨보디 제보 가서 냐와기 그래 냐와기 바나다 냐위 둥아들야 다 냐와 찬야 장야서 냐위 둥아 빠도메 봐 시고스 미세바 둥아 첨보 요레스 데네 삼다 지차고라 다 냐위 그서 미가와 류가 유스미 냐주게 디바 미가와 주 딩딩지 제바이나 안 디게 제보 내민 가용 가르치게 됐라나 and Idalia Kidures, Idal Kiabainata, Jacom Dunga, Palme by your rest at dinner some dash. Tan the menu dungo, immediate Jubon, Miguel Chu, Dipa Jing, Chung Chevaina. Di garso ngason la ke dundol ke tukures dundol ke dene dundol ke bana dunga dunga paud me ba yungres ne dus chene samdam gures kom gures orda ku chede chonsum chebe nemin ngaso de ke wa dang se de ngaso se nyawa ida dundol sum de ke wa se gurwa.
So the order of the Tibetan and English is a little different. So we'll turn over to to page 25, and now we're going to talk a little further. So we need to abandon all non-virtue through our three doors of body, speech, and mind, whether great or small. And the reason is expressed here in the first point on page 25, because it leads to rebirth in the lower realms. And here, how this relates is that great non-virtuous deeds of great magnitude, when they ripen as propelling karma, because of the strength of the non-virtue, will lead to rebirth in the hells. And in the hells, as we know from the descriptions, the suffering is unimaginable, unbearable, and it is so because of the strength of the non-virtue that leads to such a rebirth. Hence, it's imperative one abandons great non-virtue, powerful non-virtue, but not only powerful non-virtue, also non-virtue of a middling or a middling strength, because when that ripens as a propelling karma, it leads to rebirth in the spirit realm. And also, one should never come under the delusion that weak non-virtues aren't that important, because should they ripen as propelling karma, they will lead to the result of a rebirth in the suffering lower realms and as an animal. So therefore, we need to guard against the 10 non-virtuous actions, which are expressed through the three doors, and ensure that we do not commit non-virtuous behavior through our speech or our physical behavior or our way of thinking. And furthermore, now we see the next 3 points here. The causally, on page 25, the causally concordant experiential effect is that in a future rebirth, okay, so the Tibetan here is not yet giving these illustrations. So there's a causally concordant experiential effects, the causally concordant behavioral effects, and the environmental result, the effects on the environment. So these are 4 ways that the karma can ripen.
Tadondala, Manzo Diringishe, the Karasamdang, Gomia, Samdang, Labna, that Dibu Cheba and Dibu Devo Canis Chebin and Digi Devo Dumas, Jungures, Chesna, that Dibu Chimbo Cheba and Yawal Maki, that Dingu Cheba and that Idarkia, the Chungo Cheba, Dundulaki, Chesna, Yawa Ida, Dundu Sumi, Diva, Caso, Denmark, and Di Dungan at Palmeva Dungure, Sempegi, two China Sam Danche. Do some down, Denegi, some down we done, and the Garjorson. That Nansung Dunga Dela Matana, Tap Minu, Tago, some of that, de young Yandunga Zichi to some down at Digor Dela, Tago, Sempe Dunga, Naso Dunga Dela Matan, Tabidu, Naso Dunga Tarachi, Sempeke, do some the Dela Young Zichi to near some down Comnatigorva, or do send some dia Chigre. Taniba de la Carton was just an answer to one Taya la Carjoson. Gave each our Dubu dos. Gawachuba ina, Ta gave Gawachuba and D. Devo Devacanyare, Chisan Gawaya Putuba and Delia and Manjuki Dendula Yang Son la Taji Dendula Kitu Wore, Chisan Dendula Kiava ina, Hada mi Devanyore, and Dimase, Manjuki Dendelia, and Manjuki Kesho Yanyar Kesho Tuyata, Rangi, and Jig Lam Yamlentia, and Tishala Pampotuya, then the Chiture. Chitu Chesan gave it with dinner, Yungu, Chesan dinner, that Gawat Maduna Tapmino, Gawat Dugi, Sampege, the Nigge, Gawat Dugi, Dunyer, Dumbadi, Gawat Dugi, Sampe Samadi, no one comia did it. Tisan together, the Ringi, some dance, comia did it. They are not Gawat Dugi and Sambada, Dunga, Taro Sambada, so the Chibu, some Matache. 다 랑나시 심전 창마다 동아들 마탄다 탑미도 차상다 냐와이다 둔로당 나소다 당아주기 동아 빠도 매번 용어 쳐서 닉비 제고래 제자 디니자 차상 동아라 타고도 선배게 마탄다 탑미도 선배 타고도 선배 삼다야다 제자 동아 타야게 된다라 안다 개호주부도 심전 탐지게 된다야 디기 주야다 나소래 타르제 아니电商 라다미고 뭐 토야 텐텔야 안 지게 Geshe Thubten Rabten 자고지 투여 돈달게 어디 두기 삼제 모두 디삼데 야네 양담지 당주 고미야데 디차고로 와다 딩한족이 디링기 롭센디기 다 레이군도 공부하세데 디토라야 야네 양도 삼다 고미야데 차고래.
So we'll conclude here then for tonight. When one meditates then on karma, I've presented previously how to do so in some detail, so then just to summarize here, that the first step of the meditation is on non-virtue, and here there are two components to this meditation. One starts by thinking that from non-virtue, only suffering comes. So that was the first of the four karmic characteristics. From non-virtue, only suffering comes. And when non-virtue ripens, will ripen in one of the four ways we've just briefly mentioned here. But when it ripens as a propelling rebirth, it can only propel to rebirth in the hell realms, the spirit realms, or the animal realms, the three suffering realms. And what differentiates as to why one would be reborn in one of those realms and not the others is due to the strength of the negative deed. So therefore, all non-virtue must be abandoned. And here one is meditating on cause and effect, but now when we refer to the lower realms, include your meditations, your prior meditations on the sufferings of the lower realms, include them here. To again be reminded about how awful it would be if I were to experience those sufferings in the lower realms. I could not bear those sufferings. They're inconceivable, so difficult for us to relate to them there. From my own life now as a human, I could not cope with that. And we do this to give strength of mind. And this leads to the conviction, I must abandon all non-virtue. And that is the link to the second step, which is I must accumulate as much virtue as possible through my way of speaking, my way of acting, and primarily guard my mind, ensure that it's virtuous. Because it's through, and now we go into karma, it's through accumulating virtue I will experience happy results, good rebirths, pleasant experiences in those lives. Again, these 4 steps, these 4 points of karmic results that we glossed over tonight, these also ripen for virtue, for positive karma as a good rebirth and pleasant experiences in the life. And therefore, and we need to engage in this meditation with great vigor, leading to the commitment to strive to accumulate virtue. So from the first point, it culminated in a commitment, I have to ensure I abandon non-virtue. The second point leads one to striving to accumulate virtue. And then the third general point that one goes into, the third and final point here, is to relate this, now that we've engaged in this meditation, solely from a first-person perspective, relate it to others now. No being wants to suffer in the low realms, and so many are trapped there already. And others who have a good rebirth now, but they remain dominated, their continuum remains dominated by non-virtue, and therefore there's a very good chance that when their time comes, which could be, their death comes, which could be at any moment, their next breath could well be in the low realms. Therefore, I have to strive to accumulate a virtue and abandon non-virtue to aid my spiritual progression in life after life, so I can become an ever more skilled practitioner and have an ever greater beneficial impact on the lives of others, skillfully guiding them in accordance with their own individual personalities to turn away from non-virtue and to embrace virtue. So then these are, in summary, the 3 steps of the meditation. First on non-virtuous karma in the lower realms, then on the need to accumulate virtue and the commitment to do so, and thirdly, relating this to others. And then we'll continue here with the presentation on cause and effect next week. Thank you very much.